indoor Tortoise tour 2025, almost entering 2026. Just at the end of the day, it's just 2x4 pillars, a straight 2x4, and then little notches to hold, little steps, we'll say. Doubled it up, that makes a step. Doubled up, that makes a step. 1x12s, because I didn't want to cut boards. I just went and purchased the boards. They were a little bit more money than if I would just cut them or build that myself out of whatever wood. But you can truly, I want to just stick build it without doing any cuts. And so what I did was I went and got 8-foot long 1x12s, which actually is only 11 inches deep, hence the lip. But what I did was just cut off that extra 2 feet, and then I used that as to hold the boards together. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the end ones were cut off. No, that was a separate one. That's a lie. So that's 6 boards. You go and get 6 boards, and you can just do a little nip and a little stuff together. And then pond liner. I go and get pond liner from the aquatic shop, the pet shop, because I find the Amazon pond liner and the Home Depot pond line is just not good long term. It's fine for your first setup, but you're getting a 100-year pet. The more often you can get it right instead of, it's not bad for a first time, the more money you're going to save. So that's the structure, is 2x4s, 1x11s, and then some trim added on. You can use whatever width you want. I just randomly nipped some trim together and hammered it on there. I am by no means very handy when it comes to wood carpentry. So I've got the triple stacker. There is room that I could potentially do one more if I would remove ceiling tiles, lower down, that one to there, that one to there, and I could get a 4th in there if I want to, but I'll probably just end up adding another one along that far side of the wall. So that's structured, the wood, and then I have an extra armature because there was nothing to hang off of, and I made that for my first setup anyway, so I just kept using it. For structure, I'd like to add a finch wire wall and then a finch wire door. Just the wall there to block off the garbage can. Maybe it would open as well, but less as easy as the big swinging door, because I got to make this child-proof now because my guy is on the move, and I'd like to make it pet-proof as well, just for the show and tell, and then I'll seal in that side. But everything has to be disassembled because I want this to come into the retirement home with me, that I can always have the triple stacker, because it all disassembles with very quick ease. 4 screws and that one pops out. Remove those side panels. 4 screws, that one pops out, and one more time, and then the pillars are all free, and out it goes, 1 box at a time, empty soil. So that is structure. Should we move to electrics? Down there, step 1, I have a timer. Everything's on a timer here. I have it about 11 hours this time of year. Sometimes it's 12 hours. Sometimes it's just nice to have it at a consistent start time and end time, so that the world, these Tortoises thrive on a schedule. So get a timer if you don't have one. Followed by next a power bar. I have an electric power bar, the plug-in extension cord with multiple outlets on it. And then I run 1, 2, 3 UVs, 1, 2, 3, 4 heat bulbs, because I have technically 2 setups on there. I'd like to daisy chain these UVs, but the daisy chains are shorter than my distance apart. It drives me nuts. So I might be building some custom daisy chain things for that if I can talk my electrical friends into catering to my random ideas. But it would clean things up so much. Then heat bulbs. Well, and I'd like to get back to UV if we're going to talk UV. I'd love to get a 54 watt one, and then I'd skip out on the combi bulb that I'm running there for that little bit extra UV, even though that's the most oldest bulb I've got. I got given to me secondhand. It's years old and it just keeps going, but it does offer the slimmest amount of UV, so I throw it up with the babies there as an extra because they're not getting hit with enough UV, but I'm not getting quite enough onto Phyllis, who we'll talk about later. So that is structure, that is UV. I'd love to get maybe incandescent bulbs, because if we're talking heat bulbs now, I've been using flood halogens. I've been warned against them apparently lately by a Tortoise group, and maybe, but they're the cheapest and best bang for buck. But I'll give your incandescents a try there, Tortoise group. So What else could I say about structure? We've got UV, we've got heat, humidity. It's an open table. These are a semi-arid desert tortoise species, so I usually just mist every day, hit everything with a mist and a jug of water, hence that big silver jug and that little handheld jug for spot placement. But I usually just give everything a good water down once a day and a good heavy watering once a week, and it dries out sometimes, and drying out is good. You'll eliminate any flies or anything that is kind of kicking around, because of course wet and cold is never an ideal situation for a tortoise. So moist and hot is great humidity, but I do let it dry out at periods because it's no different than nature. There's dry periods as well, but keeping high humidity for those babies is key. So I heavily mist in the morning, usually trying to heavily mist at night, but today I was like, I'm just going to throw up a video, so don't judge my dryness today. With the structure, I've mostly, all these lights I've just taken a little chunk of wire, wrapped it around the line, and it allows me to slide it up and down. And I haven't had anyone slide it way out of the way or something like that yet. And it allows me to adjust height very easily. Then I've got some fishing line holding on to the factory clips for the UV. A couple extra hooks because brushes for dishes, sweeping, the gardening tool, the dustpan for shoveling. They're just handy to hang up there. Of course, temperature gun is a must-have. Try and find your basking temperature. Try and find your cool end temperature. Try and find your shell temperature. Lovely. The old mister, that's a must-have. Gotta love a mister. Wish this one had a hold clicker on it, so you just pump it and leave it. But this one doesn't, so when I buy another cheap one after I break this one, because they all have a life expectancy of breaking, then I will get another one. I usually keep a tape measure because I'm always measuring random ideas or how I could add on to this thing, or how could I play with this. Obviously, the best there is out there, Nutriball, super good multivitamin. I just drill holes in the lid and then just give her a little shakerino. Same with Fluger's calcium. This is all I always get with vitamin D3. This was given to me. I had phosphorus in it. For the amount that I go through, for as many tortoises I go through, I got it for free. So it's how can you go wrong? Save $10. This stuff, I don't know what it actually is called. It's styptic powder. That's right. It's really good if you overfile beaks, or you shouldn't be filing your tortoise's nails, but unless they're wildly long and curled over and gangly, then you shouldn't. But this is handy. I use it for my dog as well when I clip her nails too short, because the old girls' quicks or quiver or whatever you want to call it seem to really be long, and so anytime I clip, it's just nice. If you nip anything in their beak, you can just stuff it on there. This is my kind of container of crapola that's supposed to be for tortoises, but I've overreached. This is my own shaker food that I've made. Here's a better, less dusty container to see it, because I have a dusty version. This is still rather dusty. And then I've got a fine version. And then I'm working on just a nice clean pellet version, but I haven't gotten there yet. This is the powder, straight powder. So I'll be able to offer a shaker topper for those losers that feed lettuce. Then you can throw on some of that. Book for weighing and records. Cannot go wrong for a 100-year pet. Carpet, because I don't really like having any dirt when you shovel dirt or transfer dirt or soil. It's just, you don't want that on your nice carpet. So I have those clipped on there, and maybe I'll integrate them with that closing lid I was telling you about. Folding garbage can, that is a must-have. So you can, and big enough you can bang the dish off, so you can clean off their dishes. Looking quickly in here for products that I use. Best tortoise products come from outside. You can't purchase them at a pet store. The best things come from outside. I like having soil. This is mostly coir, but I'll be mixing soil in when it's not dead frozen. Some stones. I always like collecting stones. These are a few Native American artifacts that I found on our private property, so I can keep them all I want. And there's a hammer. There's a few round stones that were used for utility tools, I imagine. Slate or terracotta are the rough kind to eat off of, and the smooth kind to drink out of. Like, yeah, I cleaned my dishes this morning. Your dishes are dirty. I love when people comment, your dishes are dirty. It's like, yeah, my tortoise likes to stomp through things. All of them do. Like all 50 tortoises I've had like to stomp through their dish. They like their water dish dirty. I can freshen it up in the morning. It's going to look like this at night. Clay pots. They love clay pots. Like, such a beautiful little thing. That's Phyllis there. She's a recent rehome. She's got some MBD. She's got some pyramiding. She's got some split skew. She's got an overgrown beak. We love her. We're going to make her life crazily better. This random stone that I dug up, like, on private property. And it's, I think, burnt glass because we live in an area that had a glass factory. Cuttlefish bone. More stones and slate to eat off of. Because I kind of rotate things around here to keep things fresh. Because if you feed in the same spot and don't stir your soil, you're going to end up with a manky spot, to say the least. Cuttlefish bone, lump chalk, that goes hand in hand with the Necton Nutriball, the calcium. I always leave that available, especially for new gals. Featuring my pellets there. Check that out. And that is my own homegrown pellets. And some jade plant from upstairs. Hygrometer, nice to have. Once you understand it, it's kind of redundant, and my battery died, and like in here's a little bit too dry, but if you look underneath there, look, there's moisture. So it just needs a little bit of an air humidity. The soil doesn't really need dampening all that much. Same with the babies. So these babies, little cuttlefish bone, are always available. I doubt they can actually gnaw that, but I leave it. Slate spot, a hygrometer, which is mid-level humidity, could be 20% higher. Another little First Nations artifact that I found on our private property, which of course I'm not going to just leave there. I got to appreciate it and show it off, which is what I'm doing. Did I mention a weigh scale? Super handy, a little food weigh scale. You can measure your weights in your record book. Come up top with me to the new males. These guys are too dry. This choir I had way too wet, and now I've let it go over dry to try and get it to chill out. The water dish I forgot to fill this morning after I dumped it, so I shortchanged these guys water. Food, like you guys, will just wreck anything. There's nice jade plant in there that the characters obviously didn't eat or didn't like. See how it's so wet and it was lumpy. Now we're dry today, so I guess I'll hit that with some more water. Note that once they're formed, the moisture is way less. Their shell is formed. Like, this guy's pretty smooth. This guy has smooth parts. That I would estimate from being too much protein. And these guys are getting along a lot better. They're a lot less mean to each other, and I haven't been hearing the banging and the clanging upstairs. So that's been nice. But yeah, I'm probably just gonna fill. Oh, beak trimming tools here. I've got a little kit, a male's groomer kit, and that is usually what I use for beaks because I get so many tortoises for rehome. Like, both these guys' beaks were overgrown. His I've got pretty much fixed. It could use a little filing for shaping. And this guy's is a little weird too. It needs, could use a clipping. Like, they should look like a little old man instead of a parrot. See how, I hate how it juts outwards. Like, you gotta work that back. So it takes a few different tools, takes a few different ideas, but I find holding upside down, grab neck with least dominant hand, support, and then clip with dominant hand. Works well. I always keep a little red solo cup action going on because I usually soak my homemade pellets or dried feeds, the ones that I make myself out of weeds, plants, flowers, and safe feeds from the Tortoise Table app. And then I hydrate them by a quick soak in hot water and then strain it out either into the toilet or into the soil here if I feel like if it's dry. Because if it's wet, then you can end up with bugs if you strain your food into the soil. It's not quite bioactive enough indoors. And I've had introduced springtails and ice pods indoors, but I find that they just don't survive because come summertime, I put them. I put the Tortoise outside, then I forget about the ice pods inside. They dry out, they're dead. Boom, done. So maybe I won't bring bugs into my house. I've tried worms as well, and I think the Tortoises were eating them because I never saw them after I put them in the soil. I never saw them again. Wet, dry, you name it. But yeah, I'm probably going to give these guys a soak down. I'm so thankful if anyone stayed in and tuned in for this long. I'm super grateful for that. I appreciate you guys. Anytime that someone comments or subscribes or likes, like, the comments mean the world to me, and I can't thank you enough for that. Because I've reached 1,000 followers. That is, to me, like, that's crazy that anyone would want to listen to me talk about tortoises whatsoever, let alone follow along the journey, because it means so much to me. Thank you so much. Your pal, Upson Scotch Natural Tortoise Keepers, Brandon Hopper, over and out.